Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest. It is my pleasure to be the Table Topics Evaluator of the day for that fascinating round of table topics. We have a lot to get through because there are so many of these, so I need to keep time, and I'm watching Maud carefully. Richard Fallon went first. He broke the ice. He looked right into the camera, as Richard does. He took the question and he went with it with vigor. I would say that there was a point where I thought that he had ended and then he went on again. And somehow I think that the cadence ended up maybe not being quite as effective as it otherwise could have. Either if you're ready to end, end. If you want to go on, go on. Also closed with that bit of a question, very powerful in that fact that he left us with that question of 5 holes. Bit of a Twilight Saga there. Ian Hawkins, humor. He again looked right at us. He told us with a sense of humor about how he was a small man, so he would need to stand on a chair. And he continued with that sense of humor, but in an understated way. Having said that point around understated, I thought that he lacked a little bit of the energy, and that could have perhaps had a little bit more impact to me and maybe others around the table. He left us with a message about being balanced, centered, and looking into the lens as he said it. Clear, poised closing. Very, very sunny close. Jessica responded to a question by repeating it. If friends were speaking about me as a thought leader, this gave her time to think about things, and it's a modus operandi every one of us can use in terms of levering to handle an impromptu kind of environment. Eyes, I thought, were down, headed down, and so it didn't give us the connection in some way that might have made for a more effective intercourse with us. Thank you at the close. Few people said that, and I would just say, it's our pleasure to listen to you. Cogent, clear, calm, cool, collected is what I wrote. And indeed, another very calming kind of pattern for us. Clodagh got into the rhythm straight away. She did represent herself as a cloudy lady, alas, but the humor was there. And she talked about meeting 3 people and not shouting at them. People, however, weren't entirely sure, I thought, if she was kidding or not, because she didn't have any sort of smile. It was the very, left in a very plain kind of way. And so there was a point where those of us that knew you, we could see the little glimmer in your eye. Later on, Clodagh did smile, and we knew that it was all humor. And she left us with a very exhilarating morning. Jess Young gave us a secret. This is a very powerful way to approach things, isn't it? She brought us in about chocolates. She referenced Jeremy, and bringing others into a discussion is something that can be very powerful. I wasn't sure that we knew all that there was between the Jeremy sort of chocolate kind of maybe clandestine connection. So maybe a little bit more of an explanation about what all of that meant. What I did also find with Jess was that there's a very dark camera in terms of the facial lighting. So something to think about in terms of the way that you light yourself, Jess. What I really enjoyed was that connection in terms of giving us the secret and then ending with a very punchy ending that left us hanging in weather climbs for another, hopefully, positive day with a bit of red sky. Daniel Havlicek chimed in with a vision for 2021, except it wasn't 2021, it was 2022. What did he do so well? He rolled with the punch. There's a change in something, roll with it. And that's, I think, a real asset in terms of anything that's impromptu. He told us what his vision was, but that was after he made an assumption about all of our vision for 2021. So if I were to say anything in terms of recommendations, perhaps not making that kind of assumption. Again, he worked with the topic very effectively and handed baton very effectively back to our table topics master and left us with food for thought. Virginia had dynamism. She really stood out from the crowd. I enjoyed the gestures that she used. Her camera was in a position so that we actually could see some of the hand gestures. Perhaps she could have given us a little bit more of a call to action, a very climactic kind of session in terms of her table topic. And then we had Mario fighting for unmuting, very funny. He talked about moving to the piercing kind of workshop. He was irritating and irritated like rainy weather on a picnic day. His eyes were slightly down and he was a little bit crabby, but that was all to effect. We know that about Mario. A very punchy close, and I hand you with that back to our Toastmaster.